So, Boz, there's a lot of news that we can talk about, so that's fun. Maybe we should start with last week. And I was actually rereading your 2025 memo, where you were talking about Reality Labs, and you wrote,
Yeah, my internal memo. Yeah.
which like many, I have leaked many over the years. Others have leaked many.
I appreciate that about you.
You wrote, I didn't leak this one.
No, you didn't.
You wrote, this year likely determines whether this entire effort will go down as the work of visionaries or a legendary misadventure.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
Inconclusive. Less so than I thought. I think there's two reasons for that. One of which is I think in 2025, you go back to this point last year, we thought 2025 was going to be the AI turning point year.
Mm.
It kind of wasn't. I think 26 is setting itself up to be. Actually, 26 is off to an incredible start on that front already, in terms of what we're seeing in terms of internal disruption of how people work and how different it is and how we're road mapping differently and how we're structuring our organizations differently. So that ended up not being the case. And as a consequence, I think 25 ended up being inconclusive. Now, on one particular piece, we did kind of give up the ghost, which was we'd been working for a long time instead of our metaverse constructs at this very unified idea of the software layer of Horizon and VR. And Horizon started in VR, and it was it's the social platform layer for VR. As we started to build out over the course of 25 on mobile, obviously we know there's a much bigger audience on mobile, and it's having a really, really positive pickup on mobile. Well, here you've got a team that actually has product market fit in a huge market on mobile phones, and they're kind of having to build everything twice. They're building it once for the mobile phone, they're building it again for VR. There's a pretty easy way to increase their velocity, which is just like let them build for mobile. So Horizon is very focused now on mobile, not exclusively, but almost exclusively. In turn, VR, which has been building a very maximalist vision, and I think we've gotten a lot of complaints even from the community in this space, where it's like, VR, we want to be able to do certainly immersive gaming is the cornerstone use case. All the mixed reality, productivity, interactive use cases, including things like supernatural and fitness, all these pieces, and then layering on these integrated social use cases. It's a lot to ask an operating system to do. You put the headset on, you boot in, you want to be there quickly, and you want to be able to do everything, like be physically co-present with other people, and also and it was a pretty overwrought OS, like in terms of the visual design and the weight of it, even in terms of the compute power, the thermals, the boot times. So VR comes out of this with a lot more focus on kind of the fundamentals, on immersive content, especially the third-party content libraries, on media, and on productivity and kind of mixed reality use cases. It's a little more focused on these pieces. Obviously, you're still social, you're still able to do those things. Those things are happening, but those things are kind of much more at the application layer than being at the system layer. And so everything gets a little bit faster. It is one of those things. There's a real lack of nuance in how these things gets covered, which is a shame.
The metaverse is over.
Yeah, it's like we're still investing.
Talking about the layoffs, we haven't said that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. So we made some changes to the metaverse side of Reality Labs a week and a half ago, and we're still investing a ton in VR. We're still committed to it. I think it's officially leaked. We've got 2 devices on the roadmap that we're super excited about coming out over the course of a period of time. We think
Period of time. That's this year, right?
I'm real careful about how I say that. No, see, that's a period of time. It could be anything. Could be tomorrow.
Okay.
And so we're being really. We're still continuing to be investing heavily in this space, but you basically, obviously VR has grown less quickly than we hoped. Like we know that's true. And so you want to make sure that your investment is right-sized.
I mean, I remember the Mark's like 10 years ago saying 1 billion people in VR by now, right?
He's in some period of time.
Yeah. Safe to say that hasn't happened.
No, that's right. So we've anticipated faster growth. On the flip side, look, we hit our sales goals last year. Like it's growing well.
Quest.
Yeah, and the engagement's good, and like this, so sales are good, the engagement's good, but it's also not gone vertical. Like we know it hasn't totally cracked the mainstream. So we're just right-sizing that investment. We're still by far the biggest investors in the space. We're probably still investing more in VR content, for example, than we were even like 2020. But for the community, it's tough. Like you see any of these changes go. I think it's probably a good thing for third-party devs. Like I think they're going to have a lot more, the third-party, the focus on the third-party app store is going to be a much bigger part of the platform going forward. It's been big in the past, and then they got kind of frustrated as it got muddled up with other competing interests. I think it's going to be clear now. So I don't think it's all bad news, but obviously very tough for the people affected. And it's the loss of an idea. We had this idea of a super integrated operating system.
Right. With Horizon throughout it.
And now we're taking a much cleaner look at it.
Okay. Yeah. I see you retweeted something from Palmer Luckey, the founder of Oculus, which I thought was interesting. He said, this is not a disaster, basically what you just said. Oculus had a strong internal mandate to not be Nintendo and instead build things that build the ecosystem. Returning to that is good. So this is Palmer, and you retweeted that. So I assume you agree with that.
Yeah, Palmer and I never spoke about this stuff, and I didn't know he was going to do that. But man, he really nailed it.
That is what's happening. Is
Yeah.
basically you're giving up on being Nintendo.
I don't think we never wanted to be Nintendo. People forget. This is one of the things that's so I love about our industry, but it's also tough, is the memories are so short. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there was a tremendous consolidation in the gaming space, and every studio was getting bought up and made exclusive, and it was
You guys were doing a lot of that too.
well, no,
We are.
So my point is, like, we were doing it reactively. It's like you saw Microsoft doing it. You saw these like consolidations happening, and you wanted to make sure that we weren't. I swear to God, we had the conversation at the time. We weren't sure there was going to exist independent game studios who could take on the projects that we wanted to make sure we were doing. Because at that point we were already funding these projects,
Yeah.
but we weren't taking on the entire burden of the team and the company. And so that obviously went very differently than anyone foresaw it, even, the Microsoft acquisitions that Microsoft has made and how those are playing out. So, but the landscape strategically 6 years ago was a legitimate concern from us that there was not going to be studios available to build VR games.
And now you're hoping that there will be in a different way.
There are. I think, yeah, it turns out that ecosystem has been quite robust, and then it continues to kind of thrive. So it's a bit of a different landscape than it looked like it was going to be 5 years ago.
But the Quest is not done as like a line.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So
No.
you guys are still committed to VR.
Yes.
It's kind of like you said, right-sizing it.
Yeah, very much so.
So on the mobile side with Horizon, that to me suggests your main competitors now are Roblox and Fortnite. Is that fair?
Any place where people are doing what I think of as synchronous social experiences.
Yeah.
So places that you're in an environment and you're there together.
Roblox is quite robust. I mean,
Yeah.
the flywheel they have with ecosystem stuff, with the economy stuff, like that's hard to crack, right?
And they've put 20 years into it, and they put the time into it. We have a few advantages, I think. I mean, I think if you look at the styles, the visual styles that some of these apps have chosen, I think there's, Roblox they're somewhat limiting to the audience that appeals to. I think it's a great product, by the way. I'm not trying to crush it. I think it's a distinctive choice that they've made. Fortnite on the flip side is just tremendous visual style, but it's quite a limitation on what you can do as a developer on that platform. It's kind of inside of the constructs that they've produced. Let's be honest, the real tool that's going to change the game, they have great, huge 150 million plus user base, sticky audiences, creator ecosystems. It's awesome. I love those products. I'm so happy for them. Also, AI is coming. And the thing that will change the most is the ability for people to create new experiences and to be participating in the ecosystems on both sides. When you and I think of user-generated content, we think of things where everyone can participate. One of my favorite things about Facebook, for example, was early on there was no photos because nobody had cameras. And if you had a digital camera, it was like, the old-timey get a memory card
it took
and
forever.
stick it in. It was like a real thing. When phones hit and everybody has a camera, they become predominantly visual. Like photographs are the medium. And then as video starts to take off, it's the same thing. So we really see the same likely cycle happening in the richer media of the metaverse, where you have these kind of richer worlds. But today, to produce that kind of thing, you need tremendous expertise on 3D modeling, interaction design. Whereas what we're playing with now, and we've put into our developer tools, the first generation of already, are things that were kind of unthinkably hard years ago. I mean, take a trivial example, AI NPCs. Anyone who's played games for a long time knows these are so bad that even the best studios in the world have like hilariously bad NPCs. It's become like a meme in like youth culture, right? Is like the NPC meme.
The GTA.
You only have like one pose. You only have like 3 things that you can say, and you just loop them together. And that's not going to be the world we live in anymore. And it's trivial for somebody who's never even done game development to build an NPC, give them a backstory, give them the boundaries of the script and the environment, and like expect them to be a part of the game and to act naturally in that environment. So I think the opportunity here for Horizon is we have a fresh new engine, which we're very excited about in terms of what it's capable of graphically, in terms of providing a richer range of styles on mobile devices, optimized for mobile devices. And then the AI we can layer into it to make it so that it's something that truly everybody can participate in. That's the big bet.
Let's circle it back to AI, but on the glasses, there was a rumor recently that you all made double production this year to about 20 million units. I think Elsor Luxottica was doing about 10 million units a year. They may double that to 20. Is that happening?
We're tremendously increasing production is right. So the Meta Ray-Ban display, the specific rumor was the Meta Ray-Ban displays, the ones that I'm wearing right now.
I thought it was overall Elsor volume.
No, because so the volume increases are real everywhere. And it's hard to predict because certainly for the existing product lines we have, yeah, we're seeing like huge multiples on growth. I mean, that was true last year. I think it's probably going to be true again this year. But there's also new products coming to market. And then for the display glasses that I'm wearing, which we had delayed our entry into Europe because the demand has been so great, we haven't been able to fulfill the demand we've had, and we've had to dramatically increase production of them. And it's really what a delight. How fun.
It's kind of the opposite of the Quest story.
Totally new. Well, actually, Quest actually flew off the shelves too. People forget that, and Quest is still selling really well. So like, I don't want to go too far in the comparison of it. But certainly the audiences are different. And what's interesting about the Meta Ray-Ban display glasses, you're not surprised at all that your kind of early adopter tech enthusiast thinks, oh, this is so cool, I'll get these glasses.
They're very cool, yeah.
It has been surprising how broadly they've found interest. That's been a surprise. Like in segments of society and people who think they're great. My wife loves them. It's like my wife is like the opposite of a tech early adopter. She'd rather not. But like it's like, so these are kinds of things. So it's been a real delight. And obviously you hope for that when you build these new products and you kind of try to plan conservatively. And
I did a pod with Alex Hemmel, your glasses guy recently, and he declined a spam call mid podcast with them, and I was impressed by it.
That's pretty good.
I didn't know. He just.
All right, I don't want to get myself in too much trouble, but I've been using them a lot. I talked about the translations and the captions use case. I was in a call earlier where a policy question came up and I didn't have an answer to it. And these ones have the handwriting, so I can handwrite. So I hand wrote to Ostravari, our partnerships lead, like on WhatsApp on the glasses, like, hey, where are we on this issue? I just didn't know. And then he texted me like right away, and I was able to just like read off.
It actually happened like mid-conversation?
It happened earlier this morning.
Okay. Let me know if you do that during this conversation.
I will never tell you that.
Okay.
No, I'm here. I'm extremely focused on our presidency together. I would never have my team text any notes.
Yes, of course, right here.
Yeah.
You have a teleprompter.
So as I look slightly to the side.
No, I mean, it's crazy what they can do. I'm wondering though, like, how is V1 on retention versus what you expected? Are they as retentive as you'd hoped?
Yeah, they're great. And I tell you what's interesting is the use cases are kind of surprising. I really expected messaging to be a major use case. Yeah, I think that will be true more once the handwriting is more widely distributed. It's in early access right now.
People don't know with the EMG band you can write on a surface and it goes into the glasses.
You just like use your finger and draw the letters, and it like does a good job of doing the text. I think it's the fact that you can read messages is high right now, but you can't text back is kind of a limiter. The photo work. So when I double tap my finger, the display comes on. I can swipe. Oop, that's the WhatsApp message from earlier. So I can slide back to home, and then I can put the camera on. And I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this. You guys can't see what I'm saying. And I can do everything like zoom.
Yeah. Hi.
And so I've done the zoom. That's hugely popular. People want to preview the picture they're taking. They want to know what the picture is. They can be able to zoom and go back. And likewise, you can do it during a video as well. And so you can like take a video and be zooming and zooming back out during the video. It's a real magical feeling. So number one use case for the glasses so far is people previewing, the display is people previewing the photo they're taking. And then obviously the audio is always huge for all the glasses. People love listening to music. They love taking calls. They do podcasts.
On competition with the glasses, it's going to be a big year.
Yeah.
Google's going to bring glass back. Snap's got Specs consumer coming out. How are you feeling about competition?
Yeah, look.
You can't just say like it validates the space either.
No. We don't need the validation of the space. The space is real.
Yeah.
We've known the space is real for a long time. We've believed in it for a long time, and we're not surprised. There's three pieces to it. The first one is what I hope is that competition tries something different. When people try different things, different form factors, different feature sets, we get to learn from that, right? And so, hey, that works, that didn't work, both by trying it ourselves and understanding, and also seeing how the market reacts. If it's just copycats, I'll be a little disappointed because there's a little less you can learn from the copycats. And there's certainly a lot of those already coming out of Asia. And the second piece I always think about is I think it's great for the team. Anyone who's been in a space, you just know when there's competition, everyone ups their game. Like, it's real. Competition breeds great products, not just by virtue of learning from one another, but just by virtue of wanting to win. There's a profoundly deep human nature, especially if you've met Alex Hemmel and my boss, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes.
And frankly, let's be honest, me. Like extremely competitive people want to win. So I'm enthusiastic about being able to bring that narrative to the team and being like, we gotta step our game up and do this stuff well. The final piece I'll say is like, I think for us, we do feel pretty good about our position. I think we're market leaders. I think we've been smart about focusing on design. Mark's kind of rule for this has been from day one, the first thing they have to be is a great pair of glasses. And if you don't hit that, then the rest of it doesn't matter. No matter what features you drape on it, it doesn't matter. People don't want to wear it. And we have quite a few tricks up our sleeve, so we're ready to go.
Are you doing wearables? Are you going to be doing any AI pendants, cans, earbuds?
As safe to assume, if there is an idea that you have about a wearable, we are trying it.
Yeah.
And we have Alex Himmel isn't just our glasses guy, he's our wearables lead, and he has a huge portfolio, many products unlaunched, many products that will never launch.
Which ones will launch though?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked. I'm not going to tell you, but it's great that you asked. But we're experimenting with all these pieces, and there's these really cool trade-offs that happen. Listen, you think about something like an earbud, and everyone's talking about earbuds. It's like, cool, you can put a camera on that. That's great for people like me. My hairstyle is particularly amenable to a camera on the earbud. I see some, particularly ladies in the audience, for whom that might not be the ideal form factor for putting a camera because they've got hair that's going to drape over that. So there's all these trade-offs. I don't think it's going to be one thing. None of us believe it's going to be one thing. I do think we have like a historical reference here. Today, a lot of people wear glasses. So glasses are socially acceptable. There's a design language. There's a comfort language that exists. A lot of people wear things on the wrist. So like we know what that looks like. And so I think there's a relationship between the currently existing prevalence of things in society and what the future device will look like.
A ring, one could say.
Rings, pins, pendants, necklaces, and they have trade-offs. Each one of them has trade-offs in terms of how you're going to interact, how much information you can get from the AI, how much you can give to it, and what context it has about you.
Yeah. So back to AI, it's my understanding that one of the first calls Alex Wang had when he joined was with Himmel about the glasses roadmap and what the AI team could be doing to better support the hardware roadmap. And I've talked to some other people on the team about this, but I'm curious to hear from you. What has this reset been like from how it's shifted the strategy? You all were doing frontier models for years with Llama. Llama 4 was a bit of a speed bump, patchy one. And now what's the new strategy for building the models and productizing them?
Yeah, I have to tell you, it's been awesome. Alex Wang's been a great partner. The team that built Llama was especially Llama 1, 2, 3 were incredible accomplishments, really tremendous. It took every single ounce of their energy to get those models out in the way that they did. They did not have the bandwidth, the space to build a platform out of those things internally. And when you're one of the things we've learned is when you focus on the open source thing, like the specific product requirements you have, they kind of get averaged out. Like it's not the specific thing. And we're kind of inverting that now. And I think Llama 4 was an expression of exactly that problem. People forget, but Llama's, in the era that Llama 3 was being built, all the models were monolithic. You weren't having these separate reasoning models and separate multimodal models. It was all monolithic. And kind of better was just very linear. It's like, yep, this model just does these things slightly better. It really bifurcated after that, if not even more, where now you have multiple different models working in orchestration together as one. And architecturally, Llama was not set up that way, and which is why Llama 4, I think, was such a disappointment. It wasn't like a bad model, but it kind of didn't have a point of view. It wasn't like amazing at anything. It kind of wanted to be amazing at some things. And so the real shift that we made right after that was, let's pick the products that need to be awesome. We serve 3.5 billion people with our products every day. They're going to be in, and we have a great surface to provide free, great AI to people that understands them, that cares about them, that understands what they care about, and can be personalized for them. And that personal AI vision has been super galvanizing. And wearables are the best for this because wearables have potentially a great deal more context about you, your life, your world, the world around you. Obviously, it's great that we have this digital context, Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp. But what about the physical context? Wearables is the best place to do it. And there's a real relationship. If you actually start to understand the physical world better through embodied kind of sensing the way that we have, you actually do better on digital tasks as well because there's a real world contingent there. So what happened? Yeah, Alex Wang joined and was immediately enthusiastic, like day one, enthusiastic about the wearables and how to figure out how to support it. So we started building the data and eval pipelines so that when their first model dropped, which it did internally this month,
I hear public release maybe first half of this year.
It's hard to say because obviously there's a ton of post-training you have to do and safety because it is looking really good. So we're super excited about the work that the team has done.
But it's tuned for the wearables. This is not going to be just like a frontier benchmark thing.
I think it'll be both. To be candid, they're really good. But I will say, but you're exactly right. It has from the day one had the data and evals for our use cases, and so where we used to have to go fine tune 40, 50 little models to handle little common tasks for the glasses, we can actually replace all of that with just the one major model that we're building. So it's very, very exciting times. And they've been tremendous partners. I have to tell you, it's been a delight to work with Alex and Nat and Shinji, the whole team.
Is open or closed been decided yet?
So this is the other thing I was going to say. So yeah, I talked about the open close. Yeah. The point of it is now you have to build your model to be great at something. It needs to be the best at a set of things.
Right.
Once you figure that out, now you can open source something that people will actually use. Because open sourcing something that nobody uses is maybe a moral victory, but a pyrrhic one. Like it's like, oh great, like who cares? A tree fell in the forest. Like it has to be something that people are like, oh, wow, you've got this. And we've got several versions of that. Like segment anything is obviously one of those. So we have several like little versions of that. We want to build a big version of that. So yeah, so once you build a model internally, you stabilize it, then you figure out what the strategy is to bring to the open source community.
I mean, everyone that I think is taking the industry is feeling like wait and see about what you guys are going to do, and can you guys really pull back?
Yeah, and look, we have such a short memory around this stuff. I mean, a year ago today, everyone was talking about DeepSeek nonstop, 24/7. Then 3 months later, it was Qwen 2.5. Then it was Gemini 3. Now it's Claude 4.5. This is a very dynamic time. And so, but we very publicly went through a complete reformation of our AI organization structure, like everything about it. And it was a huge gamble and a hugely expensive gamble.
Yes.
And it was, I kind of joked with some of the leadership team in December, we knew the first models internally were going to get access to it in early January. And you're just like, that's a big month. Like, that's a big month. And it's thankfully
The reception internally has been good.
tremendous. And it's been great to work with them, to be honest with you. It was also not a guarantee. You bring in that many new people, completely new structure, completely new kind of way of working. And we are in the upper echelon of percentages of outcomes I could have imagined.
Okay.
So
You guys are still being very acquisitive. You just did Manus, which for my money, is one of the best like product AI teams out there.
that's right. Yeah. Great.
They're in Singapore, reporting to Javi now. And I'm sure there's more coming. Like, when does this ever stop? Are you still? How long are you going to be assembling the Avengers here?
Well, so this is the thing. If you're going to spend whatever it is on power, on data centers, on GPUs, why would you not spend money on the people who operate all that thing? And I think
If you're operating $100 billion cluster and you make $1 billion a year, it's actually not insane.
it's like,
But still kind of insane. But it's not. It's
and
in the scale of large numbers.
I don't think anyone's actually doesn't. I'm not going to comment. I think the reporting on the numbers are not accurate.
Sure.
And the terms of the deals are not well understood by the broadly by the numbers of themselves. Setting that all aside, yeah, of course you want to invest in your people. It's also, by the way, it's one of the reasons that we spun up this robotics lab that I'm leading, which is
Right.
like, hey, if you're going to build this AI, it's going to be this incredible AI. You don't want its impact in the world to be limited to like digital surfaces. Like, you should also have the concomitant investment in the physical manifestation.
And that's going to be a Metahumanoid
Yeah,
Metabot.
humanoid robotic. But we're not going to. I don't think we're going to call it that. But yeah, so it's a humanoid robotic.
Metabot.
Listen, I don't. Well, you're my PR team now.
We don't have a lot of time, but the Meta Compute announcement recently, I was curious about. I think Mark's been kind of hinting at this also in earnings and other places. Like, are you all going to start selling your capacity? Are you going to become like a hyperscaler?
I just think we're in a completely different phase of infrastructure than we were for the entirety of Facebook's history. The entirety of our history working with CPU, yeah, you're balancing CPUs, networks, but these are commodity components that you have multiple suppliers of. You're balancing between those suppliers. We were building out legendary at the time amounts of compute and capacity, but by today's standards, it's almost nothing. It's a few months of build out, and so we, when you're talking about, dozens or more gigawatts, per year that you're bringing on, it's a completely different thing, and that you're going to have to involve for the power required. That's going to be a regulatory bodies around the world. You're going to have to engaging people in the regulatory stage on the capital markets to make sure people understand the investment, the payoffs. So yeah, you need, the expertise that Dina brings. You need the kind of intelligence that Daniel Gross brings to that kind of problem, working across, of course, with Santosh, who's been building our infra for years and years anyways. So I'm super pumped about this. It's just a recognition that if you're going to put out this much cash, you need to have full-time eyes on it. I don't think it relates to anything with a change of our business model or approaching different types of things. I think actually one of the great benefits that we have is that we are focused on our consumers. We're not trying to build a crazy enterprisey thing. We're not trying to kind of build out this generic cloud thing. We have a very clear vision of how we're going to bring this to the market, which is to bring it directly through our products to the people who we know and use and love those products every day. And then over time, I think we'll hopefully build AI that's good enough for them to want to buy for a higher, more tokens or for a larger amount of compute per unit. But I think we're very focused on the consumer use case.
Last lightning round. This is kind of a fun one. Before this, you were helping, you built Facebook's ads business.
Yes.
ChatGPT is going to add ads. I think this is now a conversation of what chatbots are getting. What's the advice for these people building chatbots and putting ads in them after building what you built before?
Well, Fiji and I kind of built the ads business together.
Now OpenAI.
Her and I and
Yeah.
VJ was involved with a lot of the early stuff. So
Yeah.
they know a lot of this. Yeah, sorry, the people who are building stuff. So they know a lot about the market. Look, I think it's a challenging problem. I think Google managed to solve it a long time ago pretty effectively. I think it's a little bit trickier. I don't want my AI to take commercial consideration into what it recommends me. That would feel inappropriate.
I think the industry agrees that's not the right approach.
That would feel inappropriate, but I have no problem with the AI understanding my commercial intent and trying to help me connect up, and, like, there's a story there. We've always felt quite lucky at Meta to have this, kind of demand generation surface. We're capturing attention and using that, and so businesses use us to find their customers. Customers don't even know their product exists, and they can. So such a powerful tool for small and medium businesses in particular. Um, I'm not sure that's gonna be the case for them. It looks a lot more like Google's business most likely in terms of, "Hey, there's a demand signal. We can auction this demand signal up and either put it as inventory on the side or as a separate kind of commercial segment." So they've got some real design challenges around how they bring it to consumers in a way that consumers trust that it's not kind of sullying the results of the thing. But you've got some of the best people in the industry doing it. And I think I tend to agree with Ben Thompson. I think they're a little behind. I think they wish they had done it a little earlier.
Well, it helps to have cash flow at
'Cause
this moment.
we're very lucky at Meta to have an existing successful core business against which to use. Listen, nobody in the history of these infrastructure build-outs has regretted building them out. Like, we love the telecom infrastructure, we love the railroads, we love, power, we love fiber. This is all good stuff. A lot of companies did go bankrupt in the process of trying to build those infrastructures. There's no bad ideas, just bad timing.
Yeah.
And if you can't carry it long enough before the returns hit, you're out of luck. That's gonna be the big challenge that OpenAI has to face.